Good morning. Thank you, friends. Thank you. Thank you for all of you all who are praying for Ukraine, praying for Russia, praying for Belarus, praying for this entire region. Thank you for the way you guys are sharing these, getting the word out. It makes a difference. We are seeing it again and again. I said it yesterday. There are geopolitical realities that have been frozen in place for 40 years that have changed because of very specific prayers you and I have been praying, and nobody in the geopolitical sphere expected any of this. And so we're going to be praying some really targeted prayers today because things have got to shift now. We are on a point on a precipice. It can go either way, and we're believing for God to change things in an amazing, powerful way, even as He's done through all 40 of the days of this invasion by Russia. But again, as always, if we're going to pray powerful prayers, prayers of hope, we've got to first remember what God has done. We've got to celebrate the victories that have happened. Otherwise, if you've been watching the news, you've probably gone to a very dark place. There's been some very dark things coming out, and if you stare too long into that, you will begin to empower the enemy. You'll begin to give him, you'll become afraid of him, you'll become terrified of him. And listen, we cannot afford to. We have to be impressed with God's goodness and His power and His love, and He's on the move. God's doing amazing things. We've got some very key things to pray for, so let's first celebrate what God is doing in the middle of Ukraine. Today, all across the north of Ukraine, it is clear of Russian occupation. There are no Russian soldiers north of Kyiv. There are none around Sumy or Chernihiv. This is incredible. Not just 4 days ago, people were suggesting that Chernihiv could not stand, it would fall, and now it is completely free. All the way across the north, they are free of occupation. Yes, there are terrible things that the Russians did while they were occupying and when they left, but they are gone. We've got to celebrate that. We're going to pray about those other things, but let's praise God. They're gone. We're attempting to do in that region is done. Praise Jesus. This is huge. Nobody expected this. Nobody predicted this. This is amazing. So that we can't do anything but celebrate that. That's mind-blowing. Again, when the Russians came in 40 days ago, everybody expected it to be over quick, but with Ukraine fully under Russia's thumb. Not happening. We see it today. 40 days, they are free. All right, come on. But another thing that we've really got to praise God for is the truth is coming to light. From almost day 2 or 3, we began to share with you how where we are today is the result of the fact of the way the West has been dealing with Ukraine and Russia for since 1991. That there has been a fundamental failure to understand what is happening and the fundamental lack of will to address what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. And man, the truth is coming out. Zelensky has gone full bore. In fact, one of the things he said as the horrible atrocities in Bucha are coming out, he said he's invited Sarkozy and Merkel, the French and German leaders who oversaw in 2008 when Georgia and Ukraine begged to be part of NATO, where they held out false hope to them while all the time purposing not to invite them into NATO, where they invited Ukraine down this path that has led them to today, where they have and basically invited them to Bucha to see what their policies have brought to pass. That's bold. That is bold, but it's bringing again to light what's happening, and praise God, pray that it will result in the French and German people rising up and demanding justice, demanding that their governments actually make right what their governments have caused in the region. This is big. This is really big. Pray. At the same time, Poland is doing the same thing. Poland has declared publicly that Germany is the main reason why sanctions are not truly taking effect, and truly the real sanctions, particularly on gas embargo, have not happened. They're calling out Germany. Ooh, Germany has been very slow, but they've been rising up. Pray that Germany won't get ticked, but rather embrace humility and recognize that if this is going to work, if the sanctions are going to be effective, if Russia's going to be cut off with as far as oil, then it's going to happen with the German will. Pray the German people, their conscience would be pricked and they would realize they have the ability to step in a powerful way. Man, one of the things too, though, is the Polish prime minister is also calling out Macron. We've said this again and again. Macron is a lot of talk, but he's trying to do whatever he can that won't cost him politically as he's running for re-election. He's said that they would do a humanitarian evacuation with Turkey and Greece of Mariupol. We haven't seen one finger lifted for that. Instead, he keeps calling Putin up and going, "Hey, buddy, can you just knock it off?" And Polish prime minister is calling him out, saying, "Why in the world are you talking to him? He's a fascist. You know your talks are just delaying the inevitable." And so praise God that there is political will in Poland. And I've said this, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Lithuania, Romania, they recognize they're next. So, but pray that that understanding reaches the French people and the German people, because their politicians are going to do the least possible just because for political sake. Pray that they rise up and actually defend the Ukrainian people, but the same for the United States, that meaningful military aid comes, right, where they're providing the high altitude missile systems, they're providing real tanks, real armored troop carriers, real supplies in real time. There's been some marked delays. There's been some great public statements of what would be given, but there's been some marked delays in delivery of goods. Pray that those reach the ground, and continue to pray that the truth is revealed about what's happened with occupying troops. We said this again and again as people were saying, maybe they're just give in to the Russians. It's okay. Listen. If you've lived under Russian occupation, you know a little something. Man, and now they're seeing what happens when Russians occupy. Pray. So pray for the occupied territories. Man, pray for the people that have been abused. Pray for the people that have experienced such devastation. Pray for them, but also pray for the church to arise. This is the moment that reveals that those systems of this world are fundamentally unable to protect. The systems of this world are fundamentally unable to deal with the devastation that happens when the enemy rises up. And so, man, pray right now. You guys know we've been partnering with Vladimir and Lilia in the church Благовесть in Dnipro. They have a caravan of 6 vans and buses going into some of the most dangerous areas, the places where the firefighting is the worst. Pray for them. They've managed to collect 108 people, and they're getting them out. That includes, old women and the handicapped. They're getting them out. Pray for their protection, but pray for them because they're just the tip of the spear. There's so many Christians who are rising up and are going in and getting people out. That's happening right now. So pray for Vladimir and that entire convoy to be protected, that they would have wisdom where to go, where the troops are, how to avoid, and that they would be protected and get people out. Pray also that people are going into the that they are going into occupied territories. Pray for them. They're getting people out, but they're also bringing supplies in. Pray for Mariupol. Mariupol has been so devastated, but listen, the West continues to sell Mariupol out. They keep expecting them to fall, so they refuse to act. Listen, they said they were going to fall 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Listen, they're not. Pray for them. They are more powerful, more. There's so much good happening, but pray for their protection. Pray that in the middle of it, they would be completely, that they would find supplies, that they would find hidden